Finally got our 2009 Ram running really good, but now we got to take care of a couple other things, such as that air conditioning evaporator, which is part of the HVAC unit in this truck. And in order to get at that, you have to take the dash out. It sounds daunting, but it's actually not too bad. We'll take you through that. And there's a couple reasons why you may want to do this job. Another common failure that some of these trucks have is they have an actuator door that runs the diverter flaps in the HVAC unit. And sometimes those actuators break, they're just plastic drives, and you have to take the dash out, get the HVAC out to replace those drives. We're gonna take you through that, see if I can figure it out, and we'll get the dash out of this, get the HVAC out, get that Evap unit replaced for the air conditioning, and then we'll be able to hook up our new hoses and charge up the system, and we'll have some air conditioning on this truck too. And if you could do me a favor, hit the old subscribe button, leave us some likes, some comments, stuff like that. It helps us all out in the end, and it doesn't cost anything. All right, let's get to it. Of course, the very first thing you want to do when you're taking the dash out is you want to disconnect your battery. I've already loosened off the cable. This is our negative. So we're just going to give it a twist and pull it off here. There we go. We'll carry on the inside. So one of the first things we wanted to do is we want to get this A-pillar trim piece off. And to do that, I just got a small screwdriver right here. We're going to put it in right there. Just pop that little guy out of there, and then the bottom one just goes the other way, just like that. And you can see that there's a bolt up in there. I don't know how well you can see up in there, but there's a bolt in there. I think it's a 10 mil. Let's find out. Seems to be doing the trick. Come on, you little devil. There we go. Got our bolt out. Next. Okay, so you want to kind of pull straight down on this. Don't take it off to the side. And then once you get this out, you can see there's a little clip that pops in there. You can just pull it right out of place. I'm gonna go do the other side, and then we'll get back onto taking the dash out. Okay, next after you get the pillars off, we need to get this steering wheel out of the way. So we're gonna have to drop this trim panel, and then there's some bolts that bolt the steering wheel. So I'm going to pull this trim panel off, show you how to do that, then we'll get on the steering wheel. So the first thing you're going to have to do is you're going to have to get these little bolts out of here. They're 7 mil. We're just going to crack them loose, and then should be able to pull that off. Should probably get a little tray or something here. We need that for. Well, there we go. Just give it a little yank on the bottom, pops right off. Someone's got a nice repair job here. We're gonna have to fix that up. Nice. All right, so this panel's out of the way. Next, we're gonna want to drop this steering column. You can see up there, there's a couple bolts. So it should be a 13 mil, I believe. We're gonna drop those down, and that'll just drop this column right out of the way. In case you can't quite see what I'm looking at, we're looking right here and here. Okay, there we go. You can see our steering wheel's already loose. It's getting ready to dangle. So the other two for this steering column are back a little bit farther from those front two.
and just move back, and there's 2 more at the back, and then this column will drop.
So there you have it. We got those 4 bolts out of the way, and our steering column is resting nicely on the seat. Just want to watch that you're not stretching any wires when you let it down. We seem to be pretty good. You don't need to take it right out, you just need to drop it down. The other thing, before you disconnect the battery, I should have mentioned this earlier, if you have power seats, run them back. You're going to need to. I don't have power seats, so I don't have to worry about it. So we're going to carry on getting this dash out. The next piece we're going to work on is this trim piece here. Just take our little screwdriver, pop it in there. There you go. Now you can get the plastic trim pieces tools, they're better. You should get those, but I just use a little screwdriver, it works for me. Now these are the bolts we're after here. 1, 2, 3. That'll allow this dash to pull away. There's a couple other things we have to do, so we're going to carry on doing that first. The next trim piece we have to take off is down here. And this you can just kind of reach your hand in behind, carefully pull it forward on both sides. It'll just pop right out. You see we got a couple bolts down there that we got to take out. Now these are all, should be 13 mil. The same, we're going to take this side piece off. We're going to have another set of bolts back there. Same thing, get my little screwdriver in here. Work this panel out. And again, there we go. Got these 2 bolts here. So there's a third one that goes in from the side. We're going to have to take the kick panel off to get at that. That's pretty easy to get up. It's just, there's nothing bolting it on. You just kind of lift and pull out on it. So I'm going to have to get a screwdriver, get under here, pop it up, and then work it up forward. Okay, so with this trim piece, what I do is I take my pry tool and I go in starting here, pop it up, come up to the next one, pop it up, and then this pulls straight back, and these ones will come out. And there you can see our last bolt for the dash right there. So these bottom ones are 10 mils, the one on the sides are 13s. Go around to the driver's side, get those ones. Once we get all our side bolts out, there's a couple little trim panels up here that you're going to want to pop out. And there's a bolt down in there. Can't tell what size it is. I think it's a 10 mil, might be 13. Let's see what the panel. They're kind of hidden up here, a little tricky to find. A little tight to get our little screwdriver in there. Might need both hands for this, but I'll give it a shot with one. There we go. Get in there. Oh, there you go. There's your bolt right there. Okay, these are 10 mil. You're going to need the little ratchet with an extension. I don't know if the longer extension will help or not due to the angle of the windshield. We're just going to work on getting these out. We're going to carefully do it so we don't crack our windshield. That would really suck. Okay, now finally, there's a couple bolts. Once you drop the steering column, there's a couple bolts behind the steer column mount bolts. There's one there, one over on this side. You want to pull those out. Now, with all those bolts out, the dash should now be loose. I'll just give it a shot here. I've only got one hand, so there we go. See, our dash is loose. That's it. If I wasn't recording and was just focusing on this and you know exactly where to go to, this would only take you about 20 minutes, maybe half an hour to get the dash to this point. So we're just going to pull it forward, get on the HVAC unit. So there's these plugs that you want to undo on this side. There's this gray one, which is just a push tab with your thumb. There's the white one, which is a hinge. You gotta be careful with that. If it's a little dirty, it'll stick, you can break it. And there's this green one that goes back here. It's just a push tab with your thumb again. Right there, and pull. Then we gotta get this airbag one undone, and I don't even know what that is. That's just probably an antenna, I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna need both hands for this one. But again, it looks like it's just a push tab right here. We should be able to pull it apart. Now that we got those connectors undone, there you go. We've got our HVAC core here. We can get in here. Here's some of these motors I was talking about right here that work the actuators. You can always check those while you're in here. See a couple of the actuator doors there. That's what we're after, is right there. And so we're going to try to get that fixed up. But like I said, if you know what you're doing, you don't have too many problems. It should only take you 20-30 minutes to get this dash out. It's not that bad. This section with the fan, the blower motor, does come apart separate from the rest of the HVAC box. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to remove it in situ and leave the rest of the box intact, because what we're after is right here. This is our evaporator core, sits right in here, and we get this opened up and we get the fan off. You can see these little tabs. That's how you get it off. There's a couple of screws and like that nut back there that we'll have to get, and get some of this wiring out of the way. But to get all that out of the way, we should be able to get access to our evap core without taking the whole unit out. And the reason I want to do that is to save us from draining the coolant on the heater core. So we're going to try it that way, see if it works. If it doesn't, we'll have to take the whole unit out. Let's get to it. Okay, so there's some connectors you're going to want to undo. There's one up here on this actuator door. There's one down here on the motor, and one on here, your resistor. So make sure you get all three of those undone as well. That'll help you taking this all apart. Okay, so we're going to start by taking this screw out, and we're going to take that nut off. Okay, now that we've got the ones on the interior done, we have to come under the hood. We're going to have to move our computer mount out of the way. And you can see that there's a bolt there that goes into that one, and down there goes into this side one, because we have to get that bolt down there. Once you pull the tray away, you don't have to disconnect the computer, but once you pull the tray away, you can kind of get a wrench on that nut down there. You're going to need a deep ratchet, deep socket, and then that'll help you get the HVAC unit away from the firewall. So I've pulled all the mounting screws off, and you can see I've got this loose, and I've left the hoses connected on the heater core. I disconnected them from the valve cover, so it gave me some slack to pull this away. Then I'm going to come in here, and we're going to take this unit off right here. And I should be able to reach in behind and get the clips for that now. They'll be back here. You'll be very careful with all these little clips. They're very delicate, they break easily. So for this section, there's 2 clips on the front, 2 clips on the back. I've undone the clips. We can just pull that off. There we go, we get the blower motor. Next, we're going to work on these ones and get this separated away. I'll see if I can show you this, but there is a screw. There you go. So you can see that screw there. You're going to have to take that one out on the back side and then pop all these clips loose. These ones down here, all around. So there's actually 3 screws in this, and I was careful and noticed that it was not coming apart. So you got that one there, you got that one there, and then you got a tricky one that's hidden down there. You're gonna need a longer screwdriver to get at that one. But once you get those 3 and all the clips off, this will just pull off and you'll be left with that. And you can see there's our core right here. That's what we're trying to get at. Just pull that out and we'll replace it. As you can see, there's a fair bit of dirt and stuff where the evaporator core was. And give it a little of the old, ha! Get it out of there, see? Whew, I'll breathe that in. we'll just get all that out of there so that we don't have as much dust in our system. Next, we're going to give it a wipe. Leave it nice lemony fresh. Oh, I'll just keep cleaning this up for a little bit and we'll get our new core in here. There we go, we got our new Evap core, looking pretty snazzy. We're gonna slide that in there. Just like that. And then we're gonna put this all back together. Now I'm not gonna film me putting it all back together. You've seen it come apart, so just do the reverse. And I will give you one little tip going back together. This has a couple little alignment pins there. See it there and there. And these ones are a little tricky. There's one on the back side too. You gotta make sure those pop in, otherwise you're gonna have some issues. So just take your time, make sure everything's aligned. So remember to get all your 3 screws back in. Remember there's one on the front side, 2 on the back. And there's also this little clip that goes down here that you're gonna have to pop back on, just like that. We're ready to put this back up. Remember to reconnect your connectors that we disconnected earlier. There we go. And we get this guy up here already done. Okay. And we got our box back in. We just got to tighten up the nuts, do the ones on the other side of the firewall, and we can start putting the dash back in. Remember to get that nut down there behind your computer. So we got our HVAC unit all back in there. It's time to get this dash back in place. So we're going to start by just lifting it up here, moving it back. And you'll be able to tell if you got this right because there's this little hook here. That's going to go in that square hole there. And just sit in there, and then we'll get our bolts in. And there's a shot of it sitting in there. Get the dash back up in place. Remember to get your electrical connectors down here. There was 5 in total, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the antenna makes 5. Remember to get your 2 10mm bolts down here, and then your 2 up on the dash there. And there, 1 there. Okay, remember to get your 2 long bolts that go up under the steering column here, just behind the steering column mounts. Once you get those 2 long bolts in, you can put your steering column back up and then put the nuts back in place. Now, do remember that this has a collapsible steering column, so you may have to pull out on it or push in on it a little bit to line up the holes. Just don't tug on it too hard and you'll be good. Now that we got our evaporator core replaced, you can see it's still got the cover on it. We don't want to take that off yet. We're going to take this guy here that someone broke. The remnants of our old evaporator core. I'm gonna get this off. 10mm deep socket should do the trick. Now this line's still in good shape, but we also have this line, which we're gonna have to replace. Runs along the inside the fender here, comes to our condenser, and then we have this line that we have to replace. Which I have both of these. This one goes from the condenser to the compressor. This one goes from the compressor to the evaporator. So let's get started replacing these lines. All right, for our air conditioning, we pulled the cap off. You're gonna have to put some new O-rings on there. And you're gonna have to put your adapter block on. And you gotta make sure that this thing's really clean. So get your new O-rings, it'll go on this way. And when you pull your shipping cap off, you might hear a hiss. That's fine, just means that it was pressurized with some air, and that's a good sign because it means it's sealed, it's holding. Okay, you can see we've pushed that on there. Now you just want to put it on with your hands. If it doesn't slide on easy, don't force it. Don't put it on with the nuts. Just work it on very slowly and easy. You don't want to wreck your new O-rings. Now, let's take a look at the screws. These are the shipping screws right here, these little black ones. See, they're significantly shorter than the other ones. You need these long ones, so make sure you save them. If you don't have them, you're gonna have to get them. And then we'll put those on.
Oh yeah, so that brings the gas up to the top of the engine.